Today, the Trump administration is facing a key deadline for the war in Iran. Under the War Powers Resolution of 1973, the president must withdraw American forces from a conflict within 60 days if Congress has not authorized a war. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth told lawmakers yesterday the ceasefire with Iran pauses that timetable. And while speaking with reporters in the Oval Office, President Trump dismissed the idea that peace talks with Iran had stalled.
Nobody knows what the talks are except myself and a couple of other people. They want to make a deal badly. We have a problem because nobody knows for sure who the leaders are.
And take a look at this. CBS News has learned the true price tag of the Iran war is closer to $50 billion. That's double the public estimate from the Pentagon we reported on earlier. Yesterday on Capitol Hill, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth defended the cost of the conflict.
The question I would ask to you and to others is, what is the cost of a nuclear-armed Iran? What is the cost to the American people if the world's most dangerous regime has a nuclear weapon?
CBS News White House reporter Olivia Rinaldi joins us from our D.C. bureau with more on this. Olivia, good morning. So what are we hearing from the White House about this key deadline, and how are lawmakers reacting to the war cost adding up?
Yeah, good morning, Errol. Today is that 60-day deadline where the White House would need to formally ask Congress to declare war so that they could keep the troops in the region. But by all accounts, it looks like the White House, the Trump administration, the Pentagon, they're willing to blow past that 60-day deadline. Now, what we're hearing from Secretary Hegseth and others in the administration is that because there is a ceasefire, they don't necessarily need to ask for that war powers resolution. Their argument is, well, we're not engaged in the conflict right now. We're actually in a ceasefire, so therefore we don't need that. There was pushback from Democratic lawmakers yesterday about whether or not that's actually legally the case. What the White House could also do in this moment is actually ask for a 30-day extension. So we're going to have to watch today to see if they do formally ask for that extension or whether they continue to say they don't need it because there's a ceasefire. Now, all of this is happening as the cost of the war continues to rise. We know that Pentagon officials testified that the cost of the war was about $25 billion, but our Ellie Watson and Olivia Gazis have reported that it's actually closer to $50 billion. And the reason why it is that price tag is because the Pentagon is factoring in the cost of the damage and destruction so far at some of the U.S. bases in the region. Also, the Reaper drones that have been lost. There have been about 24 of those that have been lost, and they run a price tag of $30 million. So you do the math, and that's some $700 million right there that needs to be added to the total cost of this conflict. And Democrats are already pushing back on that figure. Take a listen to this Democratic lawmaker yesterday, our Major Garrett.
It's outrageous that the administration and Secretary Hegseth this week have not been honest with Congress, or more importantly, the American people, about the true costs of this war. And the American people know that they're the ones paying the costs, not just in their taxpayer dollars that are being spent day in and day out there, but in higher gas prices, higher fertilizer prices, higher home interest rates, all because of Donald Trump's war of choice in Iran.
And all of this, Errol, as those gas prices continue to rise.
All right, Olivia Rinaldi in our Washington bureau. Thank you for that. Let's jump now to CBS News foreign correspondent Ramy Inocencio. Good morning, Ramy. We were talking about a surge in the price of oil yesterday. What are we seeing now?
Yeah, well, oil's still on the boil. Right now, oil is up at about $111 a barrel. On pace now, up 2 weeks in a row, a surge over that time frame of nearly 25%, with the Strait of Hormuz still blockaded. And we're now at the end of the third week of that blockade, Errol, and again, no end in sight here. In addition, there is a new warning of critical shortages of oil for some countries in the world that do rely on oil coming out of the Strait of Hormuz. Many of those countries in Asia. This warning, though, coming from ConocoPhillips. This is the third biggest oil company in the United States. Meantime, as Olivia was just talking about, gas prices, let's take a look at that there. Jumping again overnight, left-hand side of your screen, $4.39. This is for an average gallon of regular, up by 9 cents from yesterday. And look at that, up by $1.20 this time a year ago. I did the calculations, about a 38% rise. A lot of anxiety, of course, when you see these changes happen so fast. But if you are worried about this, and probably you are, we're here hearing some pushback, some kind of calm coming from the White House. This is from Kevin Hassett, director of President Trump's National Economic Council. He says that it won't be for long. These gas prices won't be high for long. Take a listen.
We expect that that's a temporary phenomenon. You saw that one of the side effects of the war that is going to have a big long-term positive effect is that the UAE has left OPEC, which basically breaks OPEC. Our expectation is that the straits will be open soon, and when that happens, that there's a heck of a lot of excess capacity that OPEC has been constraining that can come through the Gulf.
And for the Strait of Hormuz to open, which it needs to do in order to get that oil from OPEC out, that peace plan does need to be agreed upon between the U.S. and Tehran. We've heard that President Trump is talking, he said, telephonically with people in Iran. We also understand that today may be the day that Tehran will give a pushback, a new revised peace plan to Pakistan. But the last one President Trump rejected didn't include Iran's nuclear program, which he says does have to be on the table. So again, the continued stalemate here, oil and gas, especially at the pump for Americans watching, all on the boil.
Yeah, making everything more expensive. Ramy, with that update from London. Thanks, Ramy.